Hey, y'all. I'm sorry. I was finishing up my dinner, but I'm here. All is well. Excuse me 1 second. All right, I'm ready. I'm sorry, y'all. Okay. So anyway, listen, guys. All is well. I'm here. I'm in the building. Okay. It's Tuesday. It's trending topics, and we got stuff to talk about. I'm trying to get myself a little comfortable here. But yeah, it's Tuesday night. It's trending topics. We got stuff to talk about. The title is called "The Choices We Make." When you decide left, right, or even when you don't decide, you are making a decision. And it's going to impact you. And depending upon the situation and the decision that is before you, the outcome will either help or harm you. But we make decisions in life. We got free will. And when you utilize that free will, it impacts you. So that's why the title tonight is called "The Decisions, the Choices We Make." So we got the Diddy trial. And the prosecution, they rest their case today. But guess what? So did the defense. The defense gave us like 10 minutes of text messages or information or whatever. And then they rested their case. And I was like, what happened, huh? 10 minutes? And so they're saying that the defense feels they did their job because they feel like the prosecution wasted everybody's time. They proved nothing. So then they don't need to put up no defense because they don't have to, because there is definitely reasonable doubt. We'll talk about playing Russian roulette with somebody's life. I personally, even if I felt the prosecution didn't do their job, I still would have had some character witnesses come up to talk about Diddy. And then I would have closed out. I would have had a couple people that worked with him, been around him as long as some others, and for them to counteract some of the things that the other people said they saw. Just had a couple of people come up there and say, every time I saw Diddy and Cassie together, they was all lovey-dovey. She said that was her boyfriend. He said that was his girlfriend. Every time I saw Jane and Diddy together, they was all lovey-dovey. That's what I would have had some people come up and say. But to have no one, and Diddy thanked the judge and told the judge he did a good job and that he's not going to testify. The judge has to make sure, now that's standard protocol for a defendant is not going to testify for, to help himself. The judge has to make sure in court, so it's on the record that this is your life, pretty much. You agree that you're not going to testify. The judge asks you, you answer, and they have it on the record. So it's interesting. I think they're taking tomorrow off, everybody, and closing arguments happens on Thursday. They said closing arguments is going to be about 2 days. And by Monday of next week, the jurors will have their case to deliberate. It's going to be interesting. So we're going to stay connected. We hung in this long. We're going to hang into the bitter end. The choices we make. And listen, Diddy made a lot of bad choices in his life. I will say this to anyone. If anybody in your life ever offers you drugs, they're not your friend. If anybody want to keep pushing substances on you, they're not your friend. Stay away from drugs. Limit, if that's what you want to do, the alcohol intake. But we will talk about it. The choices you make. Okay. Then we have the teen. I don't know if y'all remember, I did the story, the Texas teen who was at a school event. The entire details of this situation is still a little sketchy. But most people said that the two young men involved, one is no longer alive, may he rest in peace, and condolences to his family, that these two had beef, so to speak, before the incident even happened. And so they're at this meet, something happens, a knife is pulled out, one teen is no longer here, the next teen is now officially being charged with first-degree murder. You know, when I was growing up, and you already know my age, 55, when I was growing up, it wasn't, I'm not saying stuff didn't happen. Of course stuff happened. But it wasn't so many of these pow-powings at the school, or people bringing pow-pows to the school, or people bringing knives to the school. When there were fights, people used their hands. Now, the fights that are being had, they're permanent situations. And you should never let a temporary beef have you in a permanent situation that you cannot change. It's very sad. So we got one man that is no longer alive, one young man that's no longer alive. We got the other one that is facing life behind bars. And I'm going to say, without even seeing any of the evidence and hearing any of the case, this case for this particular town is so polarizing that this young man got an uphill battle and it's not looking good for him. We're going to talk about it. So then we have, last but not least, Sammy Sheen. She is the daughter to Denise Richards, formerly, I want to say, from the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. I think they have their own show now. I don't know how it's doing. I didn't watch it. I haven't seen it. So Denise Richards and Charlie Sheen's daughter. 2 years ago, she decided to get breast implants. And now she is saying that it was one of the worst decisions she could have ever made. So the bad decision. Bad decision. Bad because as a result, she's having a lot of health issues. Says she got a lot of health issues going on. And now she's being honest, and I appreciate her honesty. I appreciate her honesty because she said she is getting these implants taken out. And so I respect her for that. And which I thought that they no longer did silicone implants, but she's saying that she has silicone implants and that this silicone is wreaking havoc in her life. But God bless her for telling the truth. You know, I never was one that ever even dreamed of having, like, getting implants or wanting my boobs bigger or my butt bigger or whatever. But I do understand that some people really, really, they're like frozen because they feel like they don't have a big enough butt or they don't have a big enough boobs or whatever. And she also did an OnlyFans account. So once she got this augmentation, she said that she started making top dollar on the OnlyFans. But now she's getting them removed because she said her hair fell out, extreme fatigue. She had all kind of illnesses as a result of these implants. So we're going to talk about it, the choices we make. Listen, guys, y'all know what time it is. I'm about to bring the people on in the building. So y'all know what I need in the chat. I need a what? I need a choo-choo All aboard, everybody. It is Tuesday night trending topics, and we got stuff to talk about, the choices we make. We got the Texas teen charged with first-degree murder. We got Diddy's silence defense, okay? They said we don't need to do nothing. I don't know where they do that at, but they did it in the Diddy trial. And we got Sammy Sheen health battle as a result of her getting silicone breast implants. And I really thought the silicone was banned, but I guess not. All right, people, let me bring the people on in the building. Hey, Tay-Tay.
Hello.
Hey, Wayne.
Hey, Diva.
Hey, Savannah.
Hey, Diva. Hey, panel.
Hey, everybody. All right,
hey, everybody, hit the like button.
Thank you. You know what? We're going to go ahead and get right into the Diddy trial. I was shocked today that the defense really didn't have a defense. I guess they feel like they got this thing in the bag. I don't know. It's wild to me. And even if they felt like they had it in the bag, I feel like they should have gave up some defense because he has a multitude of civil suits that he has to fight. I would rather personally have a not guilty when I gotta fight all of these civil suits. I'm not sure what their strategy is, but I mean, I'm not the lawyer, they are. So let me go ahead and share screen so we can get a little bit more into this story. Let's do this one. Let me do this screen. My computer is taking forever today. I don't know why. It's like not happy. All right, let me try again. Hold on one second. It did this the other day and then it kind of resolved itself. So let's hope that it will resolve itself again today. If not, I'll just try to read it to y'all. Let's share. So Diddy trial, judge, thanks, you're doing a great job. Defense rests. So the rare moment in the Diddy criminal trial, the music moguls just spoke up in court, telling the judge how he's feeling, thanking him for doing a good job and confirming his decision not to take the stand before his defense rested their case. The brief exchange Tuesday started with Judge Iran asking Diddy how he was feeling. Diddy said, I'm doing great, Your Honor. I've been wanting to tell you thank you. You're doing an excellent job. Well, you know, this is Diddy's life. If he feels the judge is doing an excellent job, then holla at Diddy, right? The judge thanked Diddy for the comment.
Imagine being on a vacation for a very long time.
The judge thanked Diddy for the comment and asked if he understood the decision not to take the stands was his and his alone. Diddy responded that he thoroughly discussed with his lawyers whether or not to testify and ultimately decided against testifying. Diddy taking the stand was always a long shot because it would have been a huge risk for his defense to allow him to be cross-examined by the prosecutors. Even though, well, let's take a listen now that it queued up. Hold on one second. We'll take a listen.
Have rested, and now the ball is in Diddy's court. Prosecution has completed all their testimony, called all their witnesses. They have rested, and now the ball is in Diddy's court.
And the ball is going to be kicked to the jury because we know that the defense is not going to call any witness. At least that's the plan. We are doing this right now around the time of lunch, and the defense is going to come into court. And what we are told, unless something changes during lunchtime, is that they are going to rest without calling a single witness. Wow. And there are reasons for that. So here's our recon. The defense believes that they have reasonable doubt on all counts. On racketeering, they believe that this was more a showing of disorganized crime rather than organized crime, that you've got a guy who's a criminal because, you know, he beat Cassie, did all sorts of terrible things. But in terms of
not using his entire organization and to further those means.
And
right?
and the means usually have to be a singular purpose: selling drugs, doing hits, He's a jealous, crazy criminal boyfriend, and doing all sorts of disconnected things that have to do with being a crazy, jealous criminal boyfriend. But that's not the underlying business. So that's their argument there.
Okay.
On the issue of
sex trafficking,
sex trafficking without consent.
Right.
They believe that the various...
That's the only kind of sex trafficking.
Well, there are two. Then you got the Mann Act.
Right. Well, that's the traveling of prostitutes for purpose. Right.
But they're both kind of that issue. And
well, the sex trafficking is about the people, the victim in the sex trafficking are his girlfriends.
They're saying that there's reasonable doubt when it comes to consent. And again, we're not saying this is true. We're just saying this is their gamble, that they think that there is enough reasonable doubt given the various text messages Cassie and Jane sent and statements they had made that the jury would be unsure as to whether this was done forcibly or not.
And Harvey, right now, the defense is doing a motion to get Diddy acquitted on all these charges right now. The jury's on lunch break. His lawyers are talking to the judge, explaining what you've just been talking about. These are the reasons why the judge should just acquit him on all charges. The prosecutors haven't made their case. Judge, acquit him before this even gets to a jury.
Yeah, well, by the way, that is a standard thing to do, and you have to do it to preserve your right of appeal. It will be denied. It is almost always denied, and it's definitely going to be denied here. So this case is going to go to the jury.
Now, hold on.
We have this other count.
The other count is the Mann Act.
Okay, that's problematic.
Which is to the transportation of an individual for purpose of prostitution.
Right.
We had testimony from actual
for commercial purposes.
Male escorts.
For commercial purposes. Where you make money. Yeah, you need to. There's got to be.
You want to weigh in on that?
Yeah.
It has to be transportation across state lines for the purposes of a commercial sex act, is what. So for prostitution, as you said.
Right.
And their argument here is going to be, look.
Yeah, no, the person. Well, hold on. You made it sound like Diddy was the one making money.
Okay, let's move on.
And it's not Diddy making money. So
no, not Diddy making money.
Right.
Sex worker.
It's the sex
for
worker.
someone to come across state lines for sex, and the
That's
argument they're going to present.
Right. They're not.
You're paying the sex worker.
Yes. Yes, that's the commercial.
Were you that desperate to argue with someone that you just needed me to come back?
You literally started the argument.
I didn't start the argument. I was laying out what the charges. And this guy says, well, to make a profit.
Derek,
listen, order in the court. Order in the court a little bit. Let's just explain what kind of argument they're going to make, which is that they've had these escorts on the stand and have asked them during cross-examination, were you paid to come over across state lines for sex? And the male sex workers have all said, no, I was paid for my time and discretion, which sounds like a good argument, except it would nullify all of the laws about prostitution if a prostitute could always say, you pay me for my time, just leave the money on the nightstand. It's not a commercial sex act. We just happen to have sex after you pay me for it.
And you're right, but here's the twist to it, that what they're going to argue is this is bedroom police, that ultimately you're basically going into somebody's bedroom and prosecuting them for what they do, whether it's kinky or not, it's what they do. And, do you put 70 Homeland, again, this is their argument, 70 Homeland Security agents getting a search warrant, raiding his house, talking about baby oil at press conferences, and ultimately it's about that. So in a way, what they're asking for, there's something called jury nullification, where the jury can just say, no.
Yeah, we know this is the law, but we're going to decide.
And that's what they're kind of banking on here.
Boy,
so,
that just seems like a big gamble. I mean, I guess to the defense, they feel like they've made those points in cross-examination of all of the prosecution's witnesses, and there's no one for them to bring up their...
Closing arguments are everything here. The prosecutor, Comey, she does amazing closing arguments. She's done it in the past with Ghislaine Maxwell. And Kenny Garagos, I believe, is going to do the closing for the defense. And that's where you put the case together and sell it to the jury, because it's been very kind of disparate in the testimony. So closing, which is going to happen Thursday, is going to be critical.
Hi, I'm Kaya from Florida, and I think that the Diddy's team choosing to not settle yet was because that they are afraid of using those tactics, because it is the wrong situation. I also believe that prosecutors resting their case early was a good thing because, you know, this is such a polarizing case that it's not going to work in their favor if they're keeping up with the media and kind of, you know, trying to elongate this. So them, you know, resting their case is a good thing because now they are going to show that they're confident and that they're ready to advance and hopefully get the jury in the right state of mind.
We will see. We will see. We could have a verdict as early as Friday. I don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah.
But it could come Friday.
That girl didn't make no sense. Diddy taking the stand was already, I think I read that. We haven't heard much from Diddy at all during the 8-week-long trial, and this was by far the most he said in court. Diddy's defense has now rested its case, and jurors are being sent home until Thursday. So we get a break tomorrow when they will hear closing arguments. I think closing arguments are going to be something else. Tay, your thoughts?
All I say is just be praying that D gonna stay in the prison forever. That's all I gonna say about that, Diva.
Thank you. Julius, your thoughts?
Okay, we know that the we're talking about Diddy, correct? I just want to make sure I'm on topic.
Yes, you are.
Okay.
And stay on topic with the closing arguments and what I just showed. Go ahead.
Okay. I hope the closing arguments are quick. Hallelujah, this trial is over. Praise the Lord.
Katrina, your thoughts?
Hey Diva, hey panel, hey chat. With this thing, I told you the reason why I think they closed out like that. I really do. And the people that would have came in probably they've been implicated as well if they've been cross-examined. Diddy is not worried. Allegedly, he already got that pardon in. But we will see what happened with these closing arguments. As we said before, Diddy have did a lot of stuff, but the ones the thing that they're going after him about, the main thing that hasn't been proven unless we get something else. So we will see how this turns out, and we'll just see how this turns out. And yes, I'll be happy when this is over as well, but not for you, Diva, because it's keeping your content going. But that's all I got.
Listen, I'll always have contact. There's always some trending
I
topic.
know, girl, every day.
Yeah, I think honestly though, it's interesting for me the approach that they took, and not saying a word. I just think that's so interesting. Kind of cocky, like you just confident that the jury connected, that the dots were not connected. I don't know. It's kind of risque to me. And
They took a risk. They took a risk. I'm telling you, they took a risk without bringing anybody in. Yeah, they took a risk on that. But like you said, they feel that they're so confident that the prosecutors didn't prove anything. So, and I don't know why they would think that because some of the stuff was proven. But they took a big.
It was proven without a reasonable doubt.
There you go.
But I think that I still would have wanted to, me personally as a defense, I wanted to have left in the juror's mind, some people somewhere out there believes Diddy is different than what was all being said. Savannah, your thoughts?
I think that the defense is playing the right card at this moment because the prosecution they didn't really meet the burden of proof for what Sean Combs is being charged with. The RICO, sex trafficking, racketeering, none of that was proven in as regards to the reports that I have seen, whether it's from YouTubers or mainstream media. I don't hear or see any evidence where there has been clear and concise sex trafficking or racketeering. Is he guilty of DV? Absolutely. But these were all consenting adults by their own admission. they love to party because they had that type of money where they could party. And I always said that these are just a bunch of bored, freaky adults that, this is how they got off and communicated. I'm really glad that Combs didn't take the stand, because I think him testifying on his own behalf would have been a disaster. The prosecution was just waiting to tear into him, so I'm glad he didn't. I don't think he needed any friends or colleagues to come in. I would have preferred more of a scientific witness, whether it was forensic science. Bring me in flight logs. Prove to me as one of the witnesses. I can't remember her name, where she claimed Combs was dangling her off a balcony, but it was proven that he was across the United States at the time that she said. I would have pulled that thread more and tore into the prosecution. So I don't want to hear from Stevie J or Ray J or anybody else. I would have rather preferred more of the professional, scientific, psychological witness up there on his behalf. But the his defense team, which he's paid a lot of money for, recognizes that the state's case is very weak, and there's a lot of holes in it where they can easily step through. Again, I do believe that he will be found guilty, but however, he will be, they're going to do time served, and he might be a free man come this weekend.
I appreciate that. Thank you, Savannah. Wayne, your thoughts?
I think I was any respectable person after hearing all this about Diddy would not want their name associated with it. Because that brings on other implications. Oh, you was there, or something, or yeah, right. You was there. You didn't do no. Oh, right. Yeah. So I think that's one why nobody showed up or wanted to show up, or they could convince anybody to show up. Aside from that, being just a regular person on the jury, and you would think that if they spent almost $500 million, that all they could come up with people having sex.
I know, talk about it.
And some baby oil, First thing they show for a $500,000 case, you think they would have came up with something better than baby oil on showing on television, all this stuff, So I think neither one of the sides really could pull anybody else more than what they already had.
Right.
Like on the prosecution, the people he brought up there, I mean, it was too many people. Nobody got up there and said, look, I got a picture of it where he was jamming it down my throat. I got a picture of him doing this, like Savannah said, here's the log, here's the text messages where you said, I'll pay you. But, none of that concrete stuff. And the juror's going to look at that. And like TMG just said, even though they may see, well, yeah, he could be guilty on that, but I still don't see it. It sounds like they just got in his bedroom. He did some crazy stuff, and others did with him. And most of the ones, they was like, oh, yeah, I like him, this, that, and the other. Oh, but then he did this, So nobody, at least I don't remember hearing anybody coming straight up, boom, he did this. Boom, he did this. And I got the proof he did this. I'm standing 10 toes down. So there was no testimony like that. So how can you not have reasonable doubt? That if they was putting him, say, if it carried a year or something like that, maybe you could say, well, okay, well, he done 6 months or 7 months. But when you're putting somebody away for life, you got to show a little more than these people freaking off. Nobody came. They had said some things and had that this happened and that happened, but that's my word against yours.
Mm-hmm.
You said it happened, and nobody's, who's corroborating everything? Keter-minded people,
Mm-hmm.
Who's telling these stories? People that were strung out on drugs, people who trying to get, think, okay, what do you remember? Yeah, well, I distinctly remember this, but what do you remember? So you got these people, because I think it was me, one of them said that, well, me and Cassie are friends, I just called her the other day to congratulate her on her, on the new baby. So they're talking. So how can you expect 12 jurors to be unified in a guilty verdict? And you go home at night and you think, wow, I'm responsible for putting somebody away for the rest of their life. Just based on, they said that it was sex trafficking, this was this, that was that, but in your heart, you don't believe it. You just like, well, damn, he just did some freaky stuff. I know he did some other stuff, don't get me wrong, but some of the other stuff he ain't on trial for. But if we just hold them on trial based on this other stuff, for me, it just wasn't enough that I could put somebody away for 20 or 30 years on people that, well, I love him, I still like him, well, he pays my rent. No, I can't. I can see this all the way. I mean, I said this from the beginning. I thought he was going to walk with time served, because I just don't think either one of them proved enough. So okay, my phone gonna go out. Okay, that's it.
Okay. Sebastian, your thoughts?
Well, hello. How is everyone this evening? Okay, my thoughts are this. We're going to have to keep it real.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to have to keep it real. Okay. So we spent 6 weeks watching this trial, right? 6 weeks, about 4 to 6 weeks watching this trial and everything. And we've dealt with 30 something witnesses and etc. And Cassie coming here. Okay. We were told he was running these F-offs with substances, cameras,
come on, talk,
etc.
Minors,
allegedly, and etc. Okay, so I'm sorry, I'm moving around because my computer's about to die. I don't want it to die. Okay, so we were told all these things. We were told this is what we're supposed to expect and everything. The feds came. Okay. They brought minor receipts. They didn't bring good receipts, but they brought some. We saw some of these things. They brought us text messages, travel records. They brought us a lot. We saw a lot. Okay. And we heard about Kid Cootie's car getting blown up. But the reality is, I want this to be said, and I know people are going to get riled up, but it's okay. Here's the thing. The people don't want to say it out loud, but I'm going to say it. Jurors do not give an F about tiny legal details, okay? These are people who just got to do their 9 to 5 and get away with it, and that's it. Sadly, they had to spend that 9 to 5 in a courtroom for the past 6 weeks. Once they see that Diddy was they already showed how monstrous this man was and the actions that he's capable of doing, they don't really need to care about everything else. They don't need to care about the specifics of each charge and what comes to it. They most likely will say guilty. And that's what's going to happen.
Oh, my.
And Diddy's going to be locked up.
Oh, my gosh.
Clinkety clink, to borrow soap. But, he might like bending down and getting it anyway. So it doesn't matter. Diddy's going to be gone. And people going to have to accept that. Diddy's fans are gonna have to accept that. His children are gonna have to accept that.
Oh my gosh.
And I know, I usually don't go for the babies, but you guys are gonna have to accept that. And you guys are gonna have to accept the money, the aspect of what came with that money that y'all have too.
Oh my goodness. Woo! Not if you want them to question the funds.
Well, isn't there rumors that his funds are under his mama's name or something like that?
Listen.
Well, maybe those won't be garnished if something happens. They won't be garnished, but they're gonna have to question all of that. And I'm done.
Whoo, child. Well, listen over here. Everybody can have their opinion, but good gosh, oh my. Sebastian said he's going to get locked up, and the kids got to question the money that's in the bank account. Messy. But listen, everybody. You know, he said, the judge said by the 4th of July, he want this thing done, and the defense helped out. Okay? The defense helped out because they rested their case. Thursday, we will have opening arguments. I can't wait to hear them. If I can before Thursday, I'm going to be under a little pressure, though. I'm going to write, before I hear the opening arguments from the prosecution or the defense, I'm going to write my opening arguments. We're going to see how this thing is going to go down. I will write some for the defense. I will write some for the prosecution side, okay? Opening arguments for the Diddy trial is scheduled to begin on Thursday. Listen, let's go ahead and roll into this next story with this Texas teen. I did this story on Trending Topics a few weeks ago on my channel, and GoFundMe was started for both the accused and the person that lost his life. They didn't officially charge the kid, but they did today. He is being charged with first-degree murder. It's very sad. Let me see. Let me just share the right screen here. And I want to say they said it comes with possible life sentence, which is a lot. Okay, hold on. My screen was not happy with that share. Let me try to share again. Hold on one second, everybody. All right. So Karmelo Anthony, this is not Karmelo Anthony, the basketball player, charged with first-degree murder over high school track meet stabbing. Karmelo Anthony, the teenager who allegedly stabbed and killed a 17-year-old at a high school track meet back in April, has been officially charged with first-degree murder. Colon County District Attorney Greg Willis announced the news just minutes ago, explaining a grand jury indicted Anthony earlier Tuesday. This is bad news for this kid. This is a big thing. I think they wanted, the family at the very least wanted manslaughter, but they said first-degree murder, which everything I read can be up to a life sentence.
Earlier this spring, our community was shaken by what happened at a school track meet in Frisco. The violent loss of 17-year-old Austin Metcalf. For weeks now, my team has been presenting evidence to the grand jury, and today I summarized that evidence, and I asked the grand jury to return a first-degree murder indictment against Karmelo Anthony, which they did. With this indictment, the case now moves formally into the court system. From this point forward, we'll continue doing our job both fully and fairly to pursue justice under the law. As for the scheduling of the trial, that will be up to the court. But when the time comes, we will be ready. Now, we know that this case has struck a deep nerve here in Collin County and beyond. And that's understandable. When something like this happens at a school event, it shakes people to the core. But let's remember that the justice system works best when it moves with steadiness and principle. That's what we're committed to, and that's what this case deserves. We're also mindful of Austin's family and everyone who loved him. Please keep them in your thoughts, and if you're willing, your prayers as well. Finally, let's remember that a defendant is presumed innocent unless and until proven guilty in a court of law.
The 17-year-old athlete, as you know, has been accused of taking the life of Austin Metcalf during a dispute over a seat at University Interscholastic League's UIL District 11-5A Championship on April the 2nd. For weeks, Willis said in announcing the indictment, my team has been presenting evidence to the grand jury. Today, I summarized that evidence and I asked the grand jury to return a first-degree murder indictment against Karmelo Anthony, which they did. With that indictment, he continued, the case now moves formally into the court system. From this point forward, we will continue doing our part fully and fairly to pursue justice under the law. The trial schedule will be set by the court, but when the time comes, we'll be ready. Willis' office announced if Anthony is convicted, he faces up to life in prison. It's the whole all around is very sad. Anthony's attorney, Mike Howard, issued a video response a short time after the indictment came down, and he stressed his client's actions were self-defense. We are confident that when all the facts are presented and the full story is heard, he said the jury will reach the right conclusion and justice will be done. Give me a minute and I will, as soon as this cue back up, I will let you hear what his attorney had to say. Let's take a listen.
Indictment of Karmelo Anthony is an expected and routine step in the legal process. An indictment is a procedural step that happens in virtually every felony criminal case. It's a document that lays out for both the prosecution and the defense what the prosecution must prove beyond a reasonable doubt in court. An indictment simply means that a grand jury, after hearing only the prosecution side of the story, determined that there was enough evidence to allow the case to move forward to court. That's all an indictment means. Karmelo and his family are confident in the justice system and the people of Collin County to be fair and impartial. Of course, Karmelo looks forward to his day in court. It's only in a trial that a jury will hear the full story, one that includes critical facts and context that the grand jury simply didn't get to hear. It's only in a trial that both sides get to present evidence and cross-examine each other's witnesses. This is why our justice system is based on the principle of a full and fair trial. That's because it's only in a trial that the full story can be heard and that impartial justice can be done. We expect that when the full story is heard, the prosecution will not be able to rule out the reasonable doubt that Karmelo Anthony may have acted in self-defense. Self-defense is a fundamental right guaranteed every American. The law is clear. When self-defense is raised by the facts, the law puts the burden squarely on the prosecution to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that the citizen accused did not act in self-defense. The law does not expect or require the citizen accused to prove that they acted in self-defense. It's actually the opposite. The law requires the prosecution to rule out the reasonable doubt that the citizen accused may have acted in self-defense. We understand that this case has sparked strong reactions. Please remember that there are real human beings, kids, on both sides of this case. We ask that everyone do as the law requires and withhold judgment until all the evidence can be heard in court. We are confident that when all the facts are presented and the full story is heard, the jury will reach the right conclusion and justice will be done.
I think that is everything. Oh my gosh. Tay, your thoughts?
He gonna be an adult and he face like life in prison. You throw your life for what? For this right here? Shame on you, young man. Shame on you. You are holding accountability for this right here. Do you? It's just like he don't have no motion, Diva. No motion for what he did to this young kid. I mean, this young boy. For what? You throw your life for this right here? That's a shame right there. That's all, Diva.
Thank you. Julius, your thoughts?
I'm gonna be frank. I don't care that he had problems with the twins prior.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care. The fact is, he pulled out a weapon and used it.
Mm-hmm.
When in reality, and I go back to his father saying, "My son is all of this." Why didn't you teach your son to fight with the hands? And why didn't you intercede as a parent if he was being bullied? And I'm going to just say this. Sometimes folks need to just square up one-on-one. You win some. What did Pops say in Friday? You win some, you lose some, but you live. You live to fight another day. That's what Pops said in Friday. These young punks today, both in the street and out the street, refuse to put that simple advice into practice. And now he's possibly facing life for something that could have been avoided. He had a choice,
Mm-hmm.
and he chose the most severe, horrific one possible. I know folks are mad at me in the chat. That's fine. However, we got to stop saying, well, he was bullied. We got to start holding folks accountable. This is why our community is not advancing. When are we going to hold ourselves accountable? It starts with us.
I appreciate you, Julius. Katrina, your thoughts?
My thoughts are that boy had no business going over there messing with him. He wasn't even supposed to be at the meet. He was being bullied not once but twice. He was being ganged up on, and he defended himself. He defended himself before, and that wasn't a knife. That was a shoe thing, whatever, shoe cleaner, whatever it was. But the fact of the matter is, you get into a fight, but you don't know how you gonna end in that fight. So therefore, you shouldn't be out there trying to fight and trying to bully somebody, because it wasn't just one person that was trying to fight him. It was more than one, and he did what he had to do to defend himself to save his life. He don't know if the other guy would have did something to him, so he defended himself against what was coming towards him. And I wasn't there, didn't see it, going by what people say, but you can't come to a fight and not expect that you're going to walk away from that fight. So the best thing you do is stay away from a fight, because he came over there messing with this boy. This boy did not go over there messing with him. So we'll see how it goes in court. But that's all I got, Diva.
Ooh, thank you, Savannah. Your thoughts?
You know, when I hear this story, I instantly think of the one in Virginia where the students were playing, the kids were playing ding dong ditch at 3 a.m. There seems to be a problem with these kids being a menace in their communities and nobody acting or taking any action against, because this ain't the first time that man was that young man was a bully. I do believe that there was some type of bullying, and this was retaliation. Unfortunately, someone lost their life. And I also think that there is a lot of race being played into this story as well. And because this is a good family. The young man that's being charged, he wasn't one of those that was out there in terrorizing the community. But I just don't get, when you start pointing fingers at one, there's three pointing right back at you. And this is more of a race issue to me than it is about the bullying and a young man being charged incorrectly. I thought that I feared that he was going to be charged with the first degree, and they're going to make a example or a sample out of him. Um, but I don't. I mean, I think it's just hard. It is absolutely disheartening that this story has gotten to all this. It's a broken community, and I hate that this young man is now going to be facing the life that he has. I mean, he made a bad choice. I got that, and someone lost their life. But there's other circumstances that I think we're not privy to. But reading some of the local papers, there seems to have been some type of harassment going on and um, racial divisions in this community as well.
I appreciate you. Thank you, Savannah. Wayne, your thoughts?
You know, when a black person does something to a white person, then they want to go all out on the black person. He did this, he did that, you know. And yeah, I believe it's racist. I believe it's racial because you can go down the list where a white person done unalived a black person and they walk. The officer that went into the wrong house and pow, the other one, he just went to his door. She said, "Oh, I thought it's my apartment." The other young man several years ago, he unalived a few people. He got off because they found something called affluenza. Affluenza was his parents didn't teach him right for wrong, so he got off. Trayvon Martin, unalived by whoever the guy was, he walked. But this young man is first-degree murder. Okay, he was bullied. I'm not saying you can go around unalived people, whatever, like that. But I don't think it was no cold-blooded unaliving. You mess with people, you bully them, and then this happens. And then you become, oh, he was a great kid. Oh, he'd give you the shirt off his back. Oh, he'd do this, he'd do that. Now they're angel because they've been unalived. So I hope they do a deep dive on this into the young man who was unalived, the one who did it, and really find out why, what caused it. Because I don't think it was first-degree murder. So I think, they want to make him seem like this little whatever, that this young black kid just unalived him for no reason. And then want to put him away for the rest of his life. But you got all these other ones walking around. The officer that up in Minnesota, this woman, they say this woman called, said it was a burglar, something like that. The officers come, and she comes out of nowhere and surprise him, and the officer shot her. Unalived. She ended up being unalived. Well, guess what? He got locked up. Okay, he got charged. When it's the other way around, it don't go the same way, okay? It's always an excuse when they unalive somebody or situations where the police unalive a black person or a person of color. So I hope they really do justice, do due process, and get to the bottom of it, because I don't think things are as though they seem or as people want to project them. I don't think it was like that. That's it.
Woo, thank you. Sebastian, your thoughts?
Well, I'm glad we're speaking about this case. I was waiting for it. And I honestly considered emailing you to tell you, Diva, you're going to have to talk about this case because it is the case of this new century, this new decade that will be making headlines. Listen to this. So, get the inbox ready. I respect everyone's views and opinions on this panel, but I disagree with many of you. This has nothing, in my opinion, this has nothing to do with race. This has nothing to do with race. Karmelo Anthony was in the wrong tent. I know that's hard for some people to hear. He was in the wrong tent. The other boy, Austin Metcalf, told him that. Allegedly, Karmelo responded, "Touch me and you'll see what will happen." And then he reached into his backpack and pulled out, I don't care if it's a knife or whatever it is, a cleat screw, or I don't care. He used it and targeted Austin Metcalf's heart and punctured it in. That's what he did. This is not that difficult for people to need to understand. But as you know, we live in the digital age now. Social media has been pushing so much disinformation. Fake autopsy reports were out here. Everything was out here saying, oh, the boy didn't actually die from a stabbing. Oh, he did. So it was outrageous what I was seeing here. This boy is a danger.
Oh my God.
Because I'm going to tell you this. If you can get that heated just for someone telling you that you're in the wrong space, I do have an issue. I have a problem with you. I honestly think that something could be you could be more of a danger to our society in the next 10, 20 years. This is the type of child that could be probably beating your daughters tomorrow, everyone. This is the type of child that could cause havoc. Because there's no way you mean to tell me if I'm in the wrong tent, someone tells me I'm not supposed to be here, I'm going to get to that point where I'm going to tell them, touch me and you see what will happen. And want to know why this is not self-defense? Many attorneys have said it. Many attorneys have said why this is not self-defense. Self-defense is not planned, guys. Bingo. You cannot plan self-defense. Once you say, touch me, and you see what will happen, that is no longer self-defense if you do something. That is planned. Self-defense has to happen in the heat of the moment. If someone comes and slaps me, and then I hit them back and they get knocked out, and sadly they pass away days later or something, that is what self-defense would be. But me telling an individual that I will do something to them, if they do something to me, that is not self-defense. Self-defense does not have intent. You cannot have the intention to do something and then claim self-defense. Another reason why this boy deserves everything that he's getting is because he had the audacity to ask the police officers, oh, does self-defense matter here? No, this is not difficult case. He's guilty. I was actually waiting on what the charges were going to be. At first, I did not think that these were going to be the charges. I did not think there was going to be a first-degree murder. But now that it is, so what? The shoe fits, he has to wear it. And I remember his family describing the boy at that press conference. They literally objectified the boy. The boy no longer had value or meaning. The victim I'm talking about. They said that Metcalf boy. And notice one thing. That boy's father was at that press conference. They asked him to leave. He didn't pull out something, go stabbing someone like your son did. No, this boy needs to be locked up. He needs to be locked up. And at the end of the day, this is the morality part of this. No parent sends their child to school to get unalived at a track meet. The boy died in his twin brother's arms. Like, this is too much. I'm seeing nothing. Even if he was bullied, everyone gets bullied. Everyone's going through tough times in life. Does that give everyone an excuse to go unaliving every other goddamn person that riles them up for the day? No, it does not. Thank you, Diva.
Ooh, thank you. Oh my gosh. 48, you're in the building. What's your thoughts?
Well, my thoughts are that Karmelo defended himself. If this was any other child, they would be saying that they defended themselves. It is so crazy to me that people find it hard for Black people to meet self-defense in the same way that other people, other cultures meet self-defense. We are the only group of people that it's okay to unalive. The only group of people that everybody want on the ground fighting for them, but have no goddamn respect for my ancestry, the people that came before me and none of them. Nobody. And I get sick and tired of hearing immigrants, not even from this country, having something to say about how Black Americans, foundational Black Americans, freedmen, descendants, feel about this. My great-great-great-great-grandmother couldn't even prosecute, or my great-grandfather, take that back, because he had rights before my great-great-grandmother did. He didn't even have the right to go prosecute in the court of law. Didn't have the right to vote. Other people had autonomy over their bodies. I get sick and tired of hearing about everybody else coming for Black Americans. It could have been a Black girl did it, and they still would have said it was her fault. Everybody can find childness and tenderness in other goddamn kids but ours. That's why Black Americans want all their asses up out of the country. You don't get our plight. You don't understand where this anger is coming from. This is the only reason why I called up here, Diva, because you know I got 3 Black sons. It don't make no damn sense that I got to teach my sons. It's okay for somebody else to come in your face and say whatever they want to say and threaten your body, and you better not do a goddamn thing. I'm from Texas. Come to me with that big cap bullshit, and you going to find something that hopefully you ready for. Hopefully you ready for it. And if you in Texas, everybody in Texas know that's how it go down. From Houston, where I'm at, all the way over to Midland, El Paso, all the way over to the west side. I hope that Karmelo, if he do get time, I hope he don't get life. But how messed up this daggone system is, I won't be surprised if he get time, but I'm going to let you know one thing. Foundational Black Americans, we're going to make sure that he got money on his books. We're going to make sure that his family's straight. We're going to make sure that he all right. Because we the only ones that's looking out for us. Nobody else. It was only 2 people on this goddamn panel that said anything that was positive or in the mix of looking to that boy's side. But when it's another kind of group, another looking kind of folks, we supposed to have pity for them? Diva, it just pissed me off so bad. I hated that it even came up, because this is a hot topic in Texas. And I'm going to say this before I get off. About 10 years ago, I was facing the same goddamn charge. But the only difference was I ain't kill her. I was locked up waiting to see if she was going to get up off that life support. That's what happened to me. But guess what? I said it was self-defense for me too. But they locked my Black ass up and told me that self-defense is just enough to get somebody off of you. But guess what them police can do? And them other people in the streets of Houston, they could beat my Black ass to a bloody pulp and ain't nothing gonna happen to them. Not a damn thing. They're going to wait for me to see if I'm going to make it on that screen or not. They're going to go to court, get their little time, get whatever the judge going to say, and they're going to get their white ass, Mexican ass, other colored people's ass up out of there, because they don't give a damn about us.
Whew. 48, thank you for coming through. It is You know, I hate to say this, but this is just the truth. Whenever there's a situation and the parties in such a said situation don't look the same, they're not from the same culture, it does become a race issue. It's hard to hear, but it is the truth. You know, the young man that unalived the CEO of a healthcare, that executive, they don't have no harsh words are being said about him, and I'm not saying it needs to be, right? But no harsh words.
Mangione?
Yeah.
There
No.
are harsh words said about him. He does need to be locked up.
Well, hold on, Sebastian. Give me a minute. Diddy is accused of FOs, right? They're calling him a monster. And I'm not saying who should and should not go to jail. I'm telling you the culture of the media. They're calling him a monster. You raided somebody's home and you said you accusing them of RICO. You don't have no wiretaps saying he said unalive somebody. You don't have no wiretaps where he was like, yeah, I stuffed the substances down her throats, and then we had 3 men take advantage of her. You got none of that. You high level raided this man's home, and you come out with 1,000 bottles of baby oil, Astroglide, lingerie, and high spiked heels. You gave us 8 weeks of testimonies about sex, drugs, and alcohol. And you showed the Intercontinental tape about 2,000 times. This Luigi, they actually made a play about this man, what he did, and it's sold out. I know it is very difficult to hear, but sometimes we got to have these difficult conversations. When there is a situation and one party doesn't look like me and the other party looks like me, it's automatically going to have to deal with race. It's very sad, but that's the way the world is set up. Epstein did not get the same type of hate coverage that Diddy got. You got everybody calling this man a straight up monster. Now, there's been other people where we seen on videotape them beat down the girlfriends. We got the football player that knocked his girlfriend out in the elevator. That was on tape. We saw it. We got another football player who was tossing the girlfriend around the apartment like a rag doll. But because I don't want to get too far off the track, let me get back on the track with this guy. Be careful. I'll see you back soon. Okay. You got this guy being tossed around. You got this particular case right here, and already you know what? Let me back up. Somebody once said a lie never has to be proven, but the truth you need 1,000 things to prove the truth. I'd also heard that they had issues before, and it was self-defense. I don't know what happened because I was not there. But I do know if we tell the truth and shame the devil, we are looked at differently and treated differently. Now, I personally believe if you don't bring nothing to the party, then ain't nothing going to happen.
Bingo.
But this young man, it's a serious situation, and he's only 17. And for that, I think it was the U.S. District Attorney for Texas said he asked them to come back with first degree murder at 17. And so the sentence it carries a life sentence if convicted. I'm going to move forward. I know it was a rough story. Wayne, did you want to say something before I move forward?
I just wanted to say about, it was a case a few years ago, maybe several years ago. This woman, a black woman, respectable, worked every day.
Mm-hmm.
She worked at, I think it was a a furry, you know, what he sell for, whatever. And the place, what was it? I think it got robbed or whatever. And somebody said she did it or whatever. And they had it on the news, you know, hey, this black woman, the name, did this. So her mother calls and says, hey, sweetie, you know, you're on the news. They're looking for you. They, you know, said you robbed, I think it was robbed, but back did something, right?
Mm-hmm.
So she said, well, Mom, you know, that's not true. Let me go on down there to the police station and straighten it out. She spent 10 years in jail.
Oh, my God.
They said even though 11 white people vouched that she was at work, her time card showed she was at work. She punched out. She got 10 years. She served the 10 years and she got out, and she ended up being doing something in the courts, working in the courts. But they found that she was innocent. It was a white woman that had her name. The getaway car, they found him in another state someplace with somebody else. But she went down to do the right thing. And she got 10 years. She never left the jail. She went down there to say, hey, you know, I'm so-and-so. I think there's a mistake. She never left jail. So that's the way it happens for us.
Mm. Mm. Whew. All right, guys, I'm going to go ahead and move on. I know it was a heavy subject. Everybody has a right to their opinion. We're going to move forward. This last story is the daughter to Denise Richards and Charlie Sheen. When she turned 18, I believe it was, she was determined to get breast implants. She got them. I really thought they had banned silicone for being implants a long time ago, but I guess not. She got them, kind of destroyed her health. She's taking them out now. What I respect about her is telling her true journey to hopefully stop others from getting these implants. A lot of people, these butt implants, these breast implants, you know, they're destroying lives, and people don't want to tell the truth about it. So I admire her for telling the truth. Inside Sammy Sheen's hard decision to remove breast implants nearly 2 years after surgery. Sammy Sheen has made the hard decision to get her breast implants removed after undergoing the surgery nearly 2 years ago. The OnlyFans star took to her Instagram stories on Monday to share that she has been experiencing severe health issues due to her silicone implants. I've been experiencing health issues for nearly 2 years now with the weirdest symptoms, and finally discovered that I have breast implant illness. She captioned a mirror selfie. I don't know how I haven't figured this out sooner, but I'm so happy I finally have an answer. I'm hoping to get them removed ASAP so I can start feeling better, the 21-year-old added. In a separate post, Sheen shared a throwback photo of herself in a pink bikini before her breast augmentation. It's definitely going to be hard going back to this size, but not only physically, but mentally, she wrote, atop the snap. I don't want to at all, but I know I feel so much better once they're out. So I guess it's worth it. I posted about this on my TikTok, but figured I would talk about it here in case anyone else is experiencing the same thing, she added. This is your sign to always put your health first. The eldest daughter of Charlie Sheen and Denise Richards then shared a list of all the symptoms she had been experiencing due to the silicone, including chronic fatigue, sensitivity to temperature, hair loss, acne, headaches, memory loss, brain fog, vertigo, joint pain, muscle pain, mood swing, dry eyes, skin rashes, severe anxiety, and allergic reactions to almost everything. Sammy, however, clarified to her more than 200,000 Instagram followers that not everyone who gets implants will get sick from them. It's definitely a flip of the coin, and I think I just got super unlucky, she shared. But I'm also very grateful that I'm fortunate enough to get them removed. I feel awful for all the women that experience this and are stuck with them. because this illness is no joke. In November 2023, the influencer proudly revealed on Instagram that she underwent the knife to get a new rack. Then 9 months later, Sammy announced that she received a nose job. Earlier this year, the reality TV star said she was bullied for resembling her father, Charlie, before she got the nose job. In April, the Denise, Richard, and her Wild Things star named all the cosmetic work she has had done, including Botox, lip fillers, nose fillers, and veneers. It's just a shame now with this, the Instagram, the social media, that everybody feels the need to just do these extreme surgeries. I'm glad she's telling the truth. I hope she doesn't end up replacing them with something else. She needs to let her body heal. Tay, your thoughts?
It's just we had to love ourselves. Do not change your whole body, your nose, your lip, everything for something. It give you a negativity. Say something about you right there. Look at what happened to Kate Michelle. Look at what happened to her. She had that butt plate right there long time ago. It was liquoring out the stuff right there for her, and she had to take it out, that stuff. Look at all the celebrities, the ones that who have buttocks, all that stuff on them. It's not good for you. Just love who you are and never forget where you came from your family who gave you those good looks you had when you was a kid. Do not destroy your life for this right here. That's all I gotta say about that.
Thank you, Tay. Julius, your thoughts?
If she is doing the removal process, she does need to take the time to let her body heal. And I would offer her advice to seek a therapist as to why she felt she had to get those things in the first place. Because those chemicals, even after the first year, it can damage your body. I mean, Angela White has come out and said as such, and she had a lot of surgeries. So I think if she's doing that, good, because honestly, all of that is poison.
Thank you, Julius. Katrina, your thoughts?
My thoughts are no foreign object is meant to last in the body. Your body's gonna reject it. Um, that's what I think is going on with Wendy. But I'm not a doctor. I can't prove it whatsoever. I think she need to have those things removed. Um, before you even get them now, they make you sign a waiver because they tell you what the symptoms can be when you get an implant. So I can't listen. People do what they want to do with their body. They do what they want to do with their money and whatsoever. But when you get older, all that stuff still gonna start dragging, or I mean, it's not even gonna hold up. But um, good thing for her, she realized the symptoms that could have took her out. And I'm glad she realized that what was causing her pain. Because sometimes the silicone, they would sit in there, they was bust, and they would just go through people breast tissues and stuff. So you taking a risk when you doing these surgeries and when you putting these foreign objects in your body because you never know how your body is going to react. It might want to reject it, might want to get rid of it, and you know and it's a thing about society. Everybody want to look the same way. They want to have the white teeth, the big breast, the big butt, the slim stomach, and you sucking all the fat out. I mean, it just do what you got to do for yourself to make you happy. But the thing of it is, hit the gym. I mean, that'll work. Might not get it as fast as you want it, but it'll work in the long run, and you'll be more healthier. That's all I got.
Thank you. Savannah, your thoughts?
I think this young lady is in need of some deep, intensive therapy. She has been on a destructive spiral for some years. I believe this is the same daughter that was competing with her mom on OnlyFans. So this this young lady, unfortunately, from both parents, because both parents ain't worth a nickel when it comes to their morality and character, has led such a young, destructive, toxic life. Like, she has been exposed to so much. So I can see why she would try to alter her body from injections and fillers, and at such a young age when she doesn't need it. So but I think kudos for her to taking these objects out of her body that are making her ill. But I also think that she is very, very mentally ill as well. She needs some very deep, intensive therapy because she's been doing this for quite some time. I used to follow Denise being on Beverly Hills Housewives, and then what she had been going through, and her girls, beautiful girls, but with the history of her father and then her mother and their dependency on other substances, both legal and illegal, it's just heartbreaking that this young girl is really going through some difficult times in her life. So I just hope she gets the therapy that she needs, and she has someone in her life that really supports her outside of her mom and dad.
Thank you. Wayne, your thoughts?
Well, she exchanged that rack for a rack of money. So how'd that work out for you? And a host of other things. When you decide to do these elective surgeries, be prepared for the fallout if there's any. A lot of women get that done, feel the need to do a little extra here, a little extra, and nothing happens to them. Okay? The doctors make big money off of this. So you think they're going to encourage you not to get it done? Okay. I think the only therapy she's going to need is to get used to back to what she had. I'm not going to knock her for she want to do a nose job, all that stuff, but just be prepared for the fallout. Okay. She went on OnlyFans. OnlyFans, they make a big bag over there. So I'm sure she made plenty of money. Now she's going to have to use that money, or she used that money to get her, get a reduction. So I'm just saying, if you want to do that, because the body is made for what it came with. Even surgeries like people get knee replacement, that's not natural, and sometimes it backfires on them. That's not elective. But I'm just saying, when you put foreign objects in your body, sometimes the body rejects it. So she's getting what her money could afford her to do. She did it. It didn't turn out like she wanted. So she's back to where she was. And maybe other people that think about that. This one lady was an article. She got Botox. Okay, beautiful woman. Got Botox. Well, the doctor injected one of the wrong Botox in her face. And her face is disfigured.
Oh my God.
They showed that she's disfigured. Because Botox is like, I think it's like botulism. They got to check you with some whatever. And it was the wrong thing. And she's disfigured for life. Ain't no plastic surgery even going to help her with that. So when you let these doctors start cutting on you, be prepared. Also be prepared that it may not turn out right. Then you got more surgeries. That's it.
Thank you, Wayne. Sebastian, your thoughts?
This is very interesting, and I'm glad that she's bringing this up because amongst my generation, Generation Z, we were the generation that has been told, do whatever you want. Your body's your body. You can do whatever you want with it and stuff. And I'm glad that she's bringing this up because at the end of the day, you all are right. The body's not meant to have these foreign objects inside of us. Even when we're sick, that's why we have our fevers. That's why we have that's our body telling us that something's wrong, something's not in place, something's here that's not supposed to be here. And when we have it for too long is when more things happen. So I have never been a strong fan of plastic surgery.
Mm-hmm.
I have always told people, do not get it. Like, don't.
Right.
Do not get plastic surgery. And if you want to do those other non-invasive, like cosmetic things, like Botox and stuff, make sure you're doing it safely, and make sure you're doing it with a provider who has experience of doing it, because you can get Botox for other issues. I know some people have gotten Botox for migraines, actually, and you can get filler on your nose to change the appearance of your nose instead of having to actually get a full-on nose job. It is just, it's very scary because she's very young. She's very young and she went through this. I hope that more and more young people do not go through this plastic surgery thing where it's becoming common. And I know people my age who already have had work done. I know people my age who already have like a BBL. It's just insane. And when they're this young getting it done, that means in 20, 30 years, they're gonna have to get a retouch up again. So it's very scary. I don't really promote plastic surgery like that because it can be very dangerous. And besides that point, it's unnecessary. This is an elective. You don't need it. This is not going to change how many years you live in your life. This is not going to add on years. If not, it could probably remove some years. It's unnecessary. And everyone is beautiful in their own way. And you just got to accept it. I understand some people have their little insecurities of how they look at themselves in the mirror and stuff like that. And that's why we have therapists. And if you don't have a therapist, try talking to a friend or a family member to be your shoulder that you can lean on when tough times happen. That's it.
Thank you. I appreciate you. I agree with you. I like that statement you made. Everybody's, we're all made unique in our own right. Don't mess with it. But I'm glad that she's being upfront and honest. Because even if she helps maybe one person and say, "Oh, I'm not going to get this," but I promise y'all, I swore that silicone was banned in these implants a long time ago. That's why I'm shocked that she's saying she had silicone implants. I have to look into that. But
aren't they supposed to be saline? Because I know you can get saline ones. So if they do rupture, your body will just naturally absorb them.
Exactly. That's why I'm just like, I was shocked when she said they were silicone. I'm like, what doctor did that? But I have to look into that more. But I really thought silicone implants were banned. But I guess I'm wrong.
Well, Diva, you probably got them out in another country too. That's very common.
Yeah, that is very common. Well, I'm glad she's getting them out, and I'm glad she chose health over the money she was making on OnlyFans. Listen, guys, chat with me. Y'all know the routine. I will chat back if y'all happen to be watching this video post live. And for all that came in the building, if you didn't hit that like button on the way in, hit it on the way out. I appreciate y'all being here and spending this trending topics time with me. Good night and goodbye, everybody.